This is something that's been in the back of our mind for 6 years now. In the first season, Brennan and Booth came out to Los Angeles to investigate a murder, and people were interested in buying one of Brennan's books to make into a film.
This is not a prop. This is a real dead body.
So we finally decided to take the plunge and have as much fun with it as we possibly could. We've done about 130 episodes, or maybe more, so we try not to endlessly repeat ourselves.
This was an incredible one for us. We got to do things that maybe once every 2 seasons we get to do, where we play with the idea of what Bones is.
Action!
The basic storyline is that they're making a Hollywood film of Dr. Brennan's book.
Directed in a Michael Bay fashion into some huge, almost sci-fi extravaganza.
We just exaggerated everything we possibly could at the Jeffersonian and about our characters to try to do a comedy in the middle of a real murder.
We looked at the structure of the show as far as the sets we had and like that, and we go, how do we keep them the same and change them so that the audience can have fun with what a hyper reality of those things, would be.
The entire art department really went berserk in the best possible way for the Hollywood version of the Jeffersonian, which is now called WISC.
Why did you change the name of the Jeffersonian?
Washington Institute for Science and Knowledge gives us that cool acronym, WISC, right? They work at WISC. The focus group loved it.
We wanted it to look just enough like the Jeffersonian so that it's recognizable, but also have it look like a new set for the film version. Sort of if you were looking at the Jeffersonian after drinking much too much the night before.
There was actually quite a long period of determining what we were going to do to change it.
What's that big green wall?
That's a little visual trick. Here, look at this. Come here.
So then we said, well, let's just put a big green screen at one end of it, do a set extension, have fun with that. The wonderful thing about a set extension in the computer is it can be anything you want it to be.
Watch this, ready? Look at that. Isn't that cool?
Wow. Hey, look at that, Bones. You got a monorail.
And then the next step was to go, how do we hide what we don't want to see? And that's when we came up with the panels with the WISC logos on them, the hyped version of what the Jeffersonian is, and then the screens. And then the other thing was lighting. Even the lighting in the what we call the light tables, we changed the color temperature of the lights there, which will give it a different feeling but still keep it the same. That's how you do it, step by step, inch by inch.
We had more pre-production work on this episode than any I can remember in a long time.
This is our 7th season, so we've had 6.5 years with this set, and I mean, for us, it's even more fun because we just go in and have fun with it.
Oh my God!
What now?
This thing smells, Jocko.
Yeah, well, hold your nose. Let's go.
The casting process was very interesting because there's a very fine line between playing these characters as naturalistic and finding actors who understood that we wanted the show to be funny, but still they had to be real.
If you have a useful talent, why are you an actor?
Acting's always been my first love, and love always wins out in the end, right? Kind of like a methicillin-resistant staph infection.
We just have taken all these characters and made them as extreme as we possibly could, and cast 2 people who would never in a million years be Booth and Brennan.
The role of Dr. Kathy Reichs must have been quite a departure for you.
Actually, no, not at all. I feel like in many ways I could be Dr. Reichs. The only difference is maybe she went to college, but other than that, our essence is very, very similar.
We were incredibly lucky to find Jordan and Ashley and all of the other actors.
What's fun about this episode is that it's this very meta episode. I mean, the show Bones itself is based off of a real-life woman.
My character is named after the real-life woman that the whole show is based on, so I find that, of course, another interesting little tidbit.
What's fun is that the movie is a Hollywoodized version of the show that we all know as Bones. Blaine's idea of Booth is a very, Hollywoodized action movie version of David's.
What are you doing? I'm a character. Figure it's what you do. What?
And that's what's fun, is to play with his excitement at what an action star he thinks Booth really is.
So this is a wig, and they really tried to pump up the cleavage and the blonde hair and the quintessential actress moments and actor moments in this episode.
Then you probably know who Sherry here is sleeping with.
How am I going to say no to Hanson?
It's a simple one-syllable word. Every actor just had that right style, just the right tone to carry us through this.
None of this is my fault. Jocko doesn't care if the science is accurate. He just wants everything to look good on film.
Oh, I find this rather disillusioning.
I did too. Until I got my first paycheck.
Scott has always been plagued by Brennan. He actually lost all feeling and control of his arm before because she had degraded him so much.
I sometimes think you appear in my life for the sole purpose of making me feel inadequate.
You're perfectly capable of recognizing your own inadequacies.
So to bring him back and have him actually be in a position of power over Brennan on this film as the technical consultant was just a naturally funny situation.
He finally gets a little competitive with her this episode as well, too, which is kind of fun to see him take her on in a way he didn't in the last episode.
This is not a competition, Dr. Fillmore.
Oh, yes it is, Dr. Brennan. I love the little bits of the character they've taken and blown up into these, how would Hollywood cast these kind of characters.
Security! Frank, get the hell out of it!
Put it back, FBI.
Take it out, director!
FBI, put it back.
Take it out!
This is not a prop. This is a real dead body.
The scene that we're shooting today is a scene in the movie where the fake body for the movie, it's discovered that it's actually a real body. So we're having fun shooting the scenes of a Hollywoodized version of the Bones that everyone knows.
Okay, so you don't want bad breasts? I'll tell you what. Why don't you have the real Reichs and Lister here solve the murder for you? It'd make for a great story, right?
Emily and David are having the time of their lives. Every time I visit them on the set, it's like they're in Disneyland. They're playing it so real, but they're in this other world. It's like watching kind of an old Hollywood movie with David and Emily starring in it. And then to leave the other members of the Bones family back in the Jeffersonian to discover Cam's previous life kind of keeps the whole world of movies alive.
This is a still from Invasion of the Mother Suckers.
It was so much fun. We got to be bad on purpose.
Oh my God! There's
No, turn it off.
No!
The afro wig was probably the biggest one I've ever worn in my life.
Glad you can meet me here. Not as glad as I am.
It was hard not to laugh. So that was probably the worst part, was that I actually had to keep it together, which I'm not known for doing.
Oh, yeah.
The schlockiest vampire movie you've ever seen. Be shot out in an alley outside, poorly lit, very bad blood effects.
But it looked like they had just harpooned a whale. The amount of blood that was coming up was just ridiculous.
We just wanted to see if we could get the most out of all of our regulars.
Loved you.
I would love for the writers to write Cam in an afro wig more often, because it was so much fun.
We have a lot of loyal fans, you know, who we are very, very grateful for. So we like to give them a little present every now and then.
There's a fun sort of inside aspect to this episode where lots of the characters around the set, the movie set, are characters from the real-life Bones set.
Everyone's named after someone in the crew.
What is the hold up here, people? You're making me want to fire someone.
I'm a little shiny, Jocko. Just a minute.
To have the director in, the movie of the inside the episode be named Jocko is
And Hanson and, the creator. It's very cute.
Turn that off.
It's a board of directors. I am next in line.
I know. And Hanson Stevens stood in your way.
They're referring to our executive producers, our special effects guys, various crew members. It was kind of funny to see who popped up.
Life starts to imitate art, art starts to imitate life, and it starts to blur together in this way where you forget what's the movie and what's the show.
This is for picture.
I did get lost just a minute ago when I got pulled in to say, you're going to do the EPK really fast. I thought we were doing the EPK that's scripted. I thought we were doing that on Friday. I was a little confused, and then I found out, no, we're actually doing the real EPK.
Well, you do get a little disoriented at times. You know, you're walking over to get something to eat, and you realize, oh, no, I can't eat that. Those are props. Our food is over there. Keeps everyone on their toes.
The episode is so meta, it like folds in on itself.
We're not shooting. We're going to cut. Stop. Cut.
All I'm trying to do is make some magic. Little bit of magic in an otherwise sad and cruel world. Why is that so difficult?
When you get a script like this, it gets your juices going, and working with a lot of creative people, everyone on the crew, is just phenomenal.
This show knows what it is this deep in, and so everyone knows the tone, everyone knows you know, where the comedy is, where the drama is, and has fun doing.
Reset, back to one. Props.
We're gonna need a fresh corpse.
We didn't want to miss anything. We're not going to be going back and doing this kind of episode again for quite a while. Unless they do a sequel to Bone of Contention. They could.
The bone supremacy? The bone identity? Creepy a little bit. Bone density, that's hilarious. Any of those would be really fun. Bone deficiency, I don't like what that implies.
Bone of Contention. Summer 2013.